So when are you guys gonna make the move?
Florida.
Yeah.
As soon as immigration eases up a little bit and like looks at my balance sheet differently and says, hey, you know what? This guy's a good guy. We should let him in. He's going to do good things for us.
Well, actually, if you just come illegally, you'll get a $150,000 home.
Hey, it's the same thing in Canada,
that's the way
bro.
you go about it.
Yeah, just cross the border.
I was just in
I
Mexico.
can't swim,
I should have just
If you you'll be
can't swim.
Yeah.
I'd be one of the casualties.
San Diego, you can swim around the fence.
Shit, I
They'll
can't do
treat
that
you
either.
great. They'll treat you awesome.
It's crazy too because it's like look at your balance sheets, look what you're going to offer for the country. It's almost disheartening even for me to come. The more I'm here now, it's like I'm committed 100%. But it is disheartening because it's a long journey for me to get the green card.
You asked
a lot
me
of uncertainties
before we started filming, like, why wouldn't you make the jump? And that's my number one thing. My number one thing is it's a real pain in the ass. And I think that whatever I've done in Canada or whatever, I think I could bring it like that same motivation, that 100%. Same thing, and I think we could build something really big. But just the process of actually doing it, it's daunting.
It's very daunting. It's where you can't even think about it. It's almost like you have it like a donkey theory again. It's just like that's the destination, and it's
bro.
Like,
and the other thing, let me add to that is that like not living a bad life in Pickering, Ontario. I'm not living a bad life. I'm living a pretty good life there. So it's like. To come here and kind of just struggle through all of that stuff, that's a little bit more of a...
It is. I think the struggle is the uncertainty because you would come here, you would do business quickly. It's not to resupplement your income. It's not going to be the issue.
No.
It's more so the uncertainty of when
that's
you're
what
going to be accepted as a green card or... Like, again, I've already planned my... what I'm going to wear when I get my citizenship. It's like a whole thing. It's like, it's going to be there.
Do they still make you like Pledge of Allegiance and all that stuff?
I got to make them do the whole thing.
Yeah.
I want a whole theatrical.
He wants the full,
the full experience.
The test is actually hard. Like me as an American citizen would have trouble. If they just handed me that test right now, like there's stuff on there that I probably wouldn't know.
I'm reading everything now.
Yeah, it's not super easy. It's not like what you think. Like it's...
Yeah.
I'm a curious guy. So like, I'm a huge Roman history buff. Used to be anyways. I forgot a lot of information, but I love the Roman history. And you kind of think the Roman times was the most powerful country in the world at that period. Fast forward, it would be America in this time. And we always look at history like, oh, what an amazing time. But we're in the most powerful country in the world right now. And it's got a lot of rich history that I didn't know about. Like even the culture, it's very, very infectious. I love it here. And if you look at also, everything's still here. Like Washington, D.C., you can go see all the monuments. It's obviously the capital of the U.S.
Have you been?
No.
You gotta go.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
See the White House, like everything is here. Like the presidential palace, let's call it. It's still here. Like in 200 years, is it here? Like, we don't know. 100 years, is it here? Yeah. We don't know. What's next? What's the next power? Power always changes hands. So, I mean, Europe is still here. Italy's still there. We'll see what happens. But I mean, it's all here, so why not? We have now. I'm reading books because I love it, anyways. But it's the founding fathers. It's basically all their speeches and declarations during the time of the Revolution, the U.S. and Britain Revolution. It's kind of learning all that. It's kind of interesting to and why this country was founded on basically the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights after. Why it all came to, and it's amazing how it all came to.
And they were all in their like 20s and teens too, which is crazy.
There's people in their 20s.
Like 21-year-olds like screw the Kingdom of Britain, like we're going to do our own thing.
Oh wow.
But why was that? We think of it just like they just said screw it, we want to be independent. It was a whole thing to it. So Britain at the time it was called the Seven Wars, which was the First World War, let's call it. So obviously they were colonists and they were all over most of the continents in the world, and they had a discrepancy in all these different continents. So they had 7 wars going on at the same time. And now they're depleted of funds. So what do? America's young and rich. So they start taxing the American citizens, right? So, but remember, so the Americans that came here are still attached to the UK, to the British at that time. They have the citizenship, so they should have had the same rights as the Brits. But what happens is they started looking at America as to replenish their coffers in a sense. So they started doing heavy taxation on everything in the US. So now the Americans are like, so now you want to come in here, take our land, do heavy taxation, even any tax stamps. It was supposed to be on special paper from the Brits, and every piece of paper was costing whatever, it was like 70 cents or whatever at that time, right? So anything that was legally written, it was money back. So they're doing heavy taxation. So now these guys here were like, No. You're taking advantage of us. We had the rights of a British citizen because this is our founding fathers, basically. Like the people were the Majesty was, our savior in a sense, something like that. Anyway, so they're basically their connection. So why are you taking away our rights? So then the colonies that were here, 13 colonies, basically teamed up together and they fought. Now remember, at that time, you guys were ready. The population was quite big here. And remember, the British Army was like 111,000 soldiers, and they had 50% of the soldiers stationed here in the U.S.
Wow.
But America at the time, I think it was like 4 million people. So it was already. It's really gonna be hard to kind of throw over. And plus, it was really, it was an industrious place. Everyone, imagine people when I came on a boat with nothing, and came here and fought. Indians and the frontier and all that stuff. So these are hardy people that are already here. They're not going to come here and start doing heavy taxation and stuff like that and take away their freedoms. These guys all stood up and they raised, militias and military. They fought and they won.
It's wild stuff.
Yeah, and they were smart enough to go to France. France hated the British always, still now. And ultimately they went there and they were taking money from, I think it was Louis XVI. It was the last king there before he got overthrown. It was Marie Antoinette's husband.
Yeah, you're right.
And they were just taking money in and bringing, military weapons and stuff like that. And they fought and they won. And that's it.
That's crazy. This country is only 2 people old. When you think about it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
2 generations.
Yeah.
Not too bad. I'm in
Not
time,
too bad.
sort of.
Like maybe 3 people old. That's crazy to think about. 3 people's lives. That's how young America is.
Yeah.
We're at 250 odd years. What is this now? 1776.
Right. So what?
Can't do the math,
three people basically.
Yeah.
Three lifetimes. Yeah.
It's cool. It's a cool spot. We're hoping for obviously everything to work out, but it's good. It's a good spot.
Yeah.